Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Creatures Such as We with Trillian. I'm Trillian, and we have just clicked on check the luggage. I actually did that before I started. So we're on the very next screen, and we have to see what's going on. You arrive at the staterooms. Only half of the rooms have suitcases in front of them. Shit. There had better be more on the way, since the shuttle's already on its return trip. You grind your teeth. You shouldn't have to be dealing with this. You're supposed to only have to deal with tourist relations. Well, considering that all the luggage hasn't arrived yet, it's probably good that you're getting involved. Things always feel like they're slipping around here, but it always feels awkward speaking up about it since you have the fewest responsibilities. This girl feels way too guilty about her job. We need to radio a steward because the shuttle's already on its return trip. If we want to catch it or whatever, we better radio somebody. Another steward responds, letting you know that he's about to arrive with the rest of the luggage and to just hold tight. He sounds annoyed, but someone has to check on these things. Someone has to make sure that things stay professional. You take the extra time to check on the luggage. One of the pieces is in the wrong spot. Do you really have to do everything here? You take a few deep breaths to center yourself before dragging the bag in front of the correct airlock. Then he arrives, pushing the cart at what you'd swear is the slowest pace possible. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. The two of you sort through the remaining luggage and you sigh with relief as you drop the last piece down. He pushes the cart away and tips a finger from his forehead. You wave him off, just grateful that it's over. You lean against a bulkhead with just enough time to perk up in anticipation of the group's arrival. You adjust your clothes and your smile. You just need to give a few quick words before letting them go unpack their things, but you usually offer your service if they want any help. Do you emphasize your offer of help to anyone in particular? Well, gosh, they're all interesting. His passion is infectious. Her mind has a dark allure. Her quirks are endearing. His sharp intellect is refreshing. Ren, you'd love to figure her out. Heck, I'd love to go throw back a few drinks with her. Grant, he seems sweet enough. They're all kind of cute. I'd have trouble deciding. Nobody, maintaining professional distance. No, we're not doing that. Nobody, I'd rather get to know them better first. Okay, well, one of the things I've been thinking about since recording the last episode is that after Grant came and joined us at lunch and we found out a little bit more about him, that he's the money guy and stuff, and then I thought, oh, wait a minute, if I had gone alone with him, I might have found out more about what was going on instead of just having interesting conversations, which were interesting, but it did sort of feel like a missed opportunity of like, oh, wait, there were things to learn in that situation. So I think I'm going to say Grant in the hopes that I can get alone with Grant again and maybe find out what some of those things might have been, sort of rectify that other choice and have my cake and eat it too. So let's do this. You sugar up that smile, and you should find all your things here. You have an hour to get settled in and unpack. Please don't hesitate to ask me if there are any problems at all or if you find you've forgotten something. Oh, and if anyone needs assistance, I'm happy to help. You smile broadly, lock eyes with Grant, and give a wink. He raises an eyebrow, and then his hand. I'm still feeling a bit tired, maybe from that medicine. If you could help me drag my stuff inside, I'd appreciate it. Perfect. Of course, you practically sing. It'll be nice to get to know him better. He flops down exhausted as you drag in his clothing trunk. Poor guy. You consult him about his personal bag. Where would you like this? But then you notice that he's all sweaty. Oh no. He stands up and glances about, confused. He's clearly about to be sick again. How do you handle this? First thing, help him to the bathroom, for sure, because we don't want him puking on me or the floor. I'll probably have to clean it up. Okay. You guide him to the bathroom with what you hope is a soothing enough voice. Hey, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. His skin has lost all complexion, and his face is just sopping, contorted in agony. He points to his head. Can you? He wants you to hold back his hair. Hold it back professionally, sweetly, give him a hair tie. Pretend you don't understand what he's saying. I don't know what you're talking about. Stay over there. No, poor guy. He's having a rough time, and we're going to hold it back sweetly. You hold his hair back. It's slicked with sweat, and you have to move along with his body spasms for the next 5 minutes. You constantly remind yourself that he's in need of help and understanding. At least you manage to avoid getting splashed with the resulting liquid. He finally stops and lies down on the floor, gasping out a repeating apology. You punch in a complimentary water code on his account. All right, what next? Call a steward to escort him, call sickbay, or escort him. Well, going along with the idea that I'm trying to kind of have my cake and eat it too and do things I didn't get to do earlier, I have never seen the sickbay because I didn't go with him, so I'm going to do that. Grant pushes off your attempts to lead him out of the bathroom, spending a few more minutes draped across the floor. Lord, I have been there. As the minutes go by, you dwell on a strategy for getting him past the rest of the tourists. Try to avoid running into anyone else in the hallway. Frame it like it's a checkup. Be honest about his sickness. Joke about astronaut food and blame it on the lower gravity. I feel like, especially the food, the gravity too, but especially the food, if I blame it on something here, then other people are going to get psychosomatically sick, you know what I mean? Then like James, who's been doing his little hops, is gonna start going like, oh yeah, the gravity, I don't feel good. Or they're all gonna worry about the food that they just ate. So I think, you know, to keep them from getting sick in the head, if you will, we want to avoid those two. It's clearly not a checkup. The man has already been sick. I think we should probably be honest. But honestly, right now, especially from my character's point of view, I think she just wants to try to avoid running into anyone else. I think that's probably where she wants to go. You let Grant spend a few minutes draped across the toilet until he feels well enough to move. He apologizes, and you assure him that it's fine. And really, you've seen worse. Socialites can get weird. Then you wait in his chair until he feels well enough to walk the distance. Finally, he's good enough to make a break for it. You hook your arm around him and move at a snappish pace. You're going to run into someone. You know it. You can visualize it. Their mistrust, their fear, their lawsuits, their demands for a refund, their negative reviews, and it'll all come down on you. You'll be the sacrificial goat. But nobody else is in the passageway. They're all in their respective rooms with doors closed. Oh, wasn't expecting that. Unpacking, changing, using the bathroom. Whatever they're doing, it's not out here. You help Grant along slowly, relieved by the lack of confrontation. Silent shuffling towards the sickbay. Awkward embarrassment. Should you bring something up? Video games, collected games, Earth, space travel, himself. I do want to get to know more about him. But it's one of those things where like, you need to ask people where they've been and who they've come in contact with and stuff. So if there's anything he knows about his own sickness, let's ask him. Let's find out. He sighs. I don't normally get sick like this. It's terrible timing, really. I'm trying to button this up for Synthplay. The giant gaming conglomerate? Who buys everything? Well, that must be who's bankrolling this little trip. Synthplay has a special deal with Spacejoy, so it's where they hold high-level retreats and conferences. And apparently acquisition deals? He coughs and pauses before continuing. I'm a consultant there. I mean, I like meeting new people, bringing people together, finding ways to make things work, make everyone happy. And I'm really good at my job. That's why they sent me to oversee this acquisition. I really can't afford to drop the ball. Your emotions scatter. Is Collected cashing out? Will they still make games? Why sell now? Grant laughs. Even in my state, I can guess what's going through your mind. Well, I'll let you in on a trade secret. They came to us with a mysterious pitch. Said they needed Synthplay level resources. We're just here negotiating a way to accommodate a smooth transition. Okay. I play a lot of Minecraft, and we just went through this being bought out by Microsoft, and we're all in a panic of like, what does that mean? You know, it could be really good. It could be a nightmare. You know, it could be the end of an era. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Their games will stagnate. Fans will hate this. Oh, by the way, that's how I've been thinking about this every time I deal with the collected games people. I think, what if I were Julie, your space cruise director, and Mojang came on? I think I would kind of freak out a little bit. So I've been kind of playing it like that. It's so funny that this is exactly what's happened. Their games will stagnate. Fans will hate this. Sounds like a good tactical move. I look forward to the first collected synthplay game. What's the pitch? Can I use my synthplay points for their games? Because it's all about me. If collected came, first of all, mysterious pitch. But if collected came to synthplay and said they needed synthplay level resources, then it's probably a good tactical move. But it's this mysterious pitch that I'm curious about. What's the pitch? Like, how, that must mean that their next game not will stagnate, but will be so much more developed because they need these new resources. So what is the pitch? He winces. I couldn't say. Synthplay is taking a gamble on an unknown because we believe in collected. And another trade secret, Synthplay really wants to be the ones that enable collected to do something truly awesome. Wouldn't that just be so cool? It sounds a bit idealistic, but his enthusiasm is endearing. You approach the medbay airlock, which whooshes open as the doctor and a borrowed steward swoop in to grab Grant. We'll take it from here, the doctor chirps. Grant takes a moment to turn around and wave you off. Thanks, and sorry again. You really hope Grant gets better quickly. You've only got a short break to figure out how to distract the rest of the group. Time to take a break. You've got slightly less than an hour before the first scheduled activity before you're responsible for the tourists again. This is the sort of time you've long ago learned to carve out for yourself doing basic maintenance. How should you spend the time? Well, of course I want to go play more video games. I know I'm going to be doing that more. And so exercise and sun kind of make me feel like I'm going to see more of the space station or more of the moon base. I want to see some more sci-fi living in the future. And the quotes around sun amuse me. I guess because we're on the dark side of the moon, but I want to see what they've got. Is it like a holodeck or something? What is it? The walls and windows of the building are specially designed to filter out the cancerous solar radiation, but the lack of real sunlight left people depressed over long periods of time. Space Joy originally just fitted every employee's cabin with full-spectrum light bulbs, but they found that adding a low-intensity sunbed was a helpful supplement, and of course, a tourist perk. What type of music do you listen to while relaxing? So it's a sunbed. I never do sunbeds. Okay. Muted rad static. I don't even know what that is. Ancient orchestral, pseudo-classical, modern tonal. Which I guess for me would be postmodern tonal. I don't know. Let's go with that. You set the machine for 30 minutes and put on protective eyewear. You climb in, close the lid. The bulbs turn on and you enjoy the sensation of your skin warming. The speakers start silent, but slowly the soothing chords of harps, chimes, humming, and bird chirps crescendos until you direct the volume to hold. You quickly lose yourself in the music, and your mind starts to drift. Yeah, how about the tourists? Specifically, just all of them in general. It's really cool having them on board. It's been a long time since you've had guests that actually had interesting conversations. That thought sinks in. It's been months, maybe a year, since you've been able to have an interesting conversation. Ouch. And of course, their games are just awesome. You finally have the chance to ask them about their process. You've always wondered why they gave vampires blood-leeching hands instead of the iconic fangs and flesh weavers. What did they think it added? Or was it just something that they changed to make their vampires unique? You can actually find out. Your body tingles delightfully with the warmth, and as you start to sweat a bit, you imagine yourself on a beach back on Earth, staring up at the real sun, with a towel laid down on sand that isn't gray or sticky and doesn't need to be scraped off the airlock filters every week. You imagine waves and gulls and maybe some other people playing in the water. It is all perfect. You glance at the walkie-talkie's clock. You don't have that much more time until you need to face the tourists. What will you tell them about Grant? Okay, this checkup business is just never going to fly, so it's not a checkup. And he's not feeling tired, clearly. We could blame it on motion sickness again. I just feel like... I don't know what it is, other than the fact that I know I'm playing a game and I've got adventures and conflict and stuff ahead of me, but I keep feeling like if something goes down, like there was that foreshadowing about the distressed suits and stuff. I just feel like if something goes down, I don't want to have a conversation later where they're like, you lied to us. You know, I want to always be somebody who's at least trustworthy, if nothing else. So if everything goes wrong here on the moon base, we all trust each other because they seem like nice enough people. So I'm just going to say he was ill. He's just ill. It's just the truth. You finish and tidy up before meeting with the rest of the group. You do your best to appear encouraging and excited and not at all nervous. James asks about Grant. You take a deep breath. Then you politely inform him of the truth. He wasn't feeling well and didn't come. James nods in acceptance, and the rest of them seem to go along with his judgment. Well, that was much easier than you thought. But if he doesn't get better soon, they will get suspicious. So as not to allow them any time for extra questions, you turn about and walk down the passageway to the observatory. They slowly trail behind. You slather on that smile as you gesture to the nearby telescope booths. They all mill about expectantly. You're anxious to get them distracted again, and all that's left is for you to explain the telescope controls. What kind of instructions do you give them? Purely practical, fully detailed so that they don't have to bother you with questions. No, please ask me questions. Oh, tips and tricks so they can find the cool stuff. See, I'm trying to endear myself and be not only honest and trustworthy, but also like, you know, their friend. We could all be on Facebook together. Sure, yeah, I'm friends with the guys from Collected Games. They came to the base one time. We hung out. And now we're friends on Facebook. All right, you blast through the basics to get at the good stuff. Press remove cap, and the movement works like a regular mouse. There's a list of known coordinates of interest sorted by type of celestial object, but if you're interested in exploring, please do. Aim for clusters that are on the denser side, but not too dense, or it can be difficult to distinguish them. Your HUD will show you an exclamation mark if you manage to find something interesting. You then glance over at Ren. Oh, and if you wear glasses, you're welcome to take them off and the machine will auto-adjust for you. You realize you've been racing through the description, so you pause to take a breath before continuing. Any questions? No? Great. Then go on in there and explore. You herd them as quickly as they will move. Why do tourists always shuffle? You sit in a nearby chair, waiting for the activity to end. It's certainly a lot of fun for the tourists, but there's not much for you to do except wait for them to be done. You pick at a bit of fluff on your outfit. At least you can still manage to be presentable. You sigh as your mind flips over itself again. You haven't heard anything about Grant. Should you check on that situation? Yeah. Seems like, especially if you have a minute, you ought to stay on top of everything. Whether it's just my character's perception or if it's the truth, she seems to be the only one kind of keeping everything moving around here, so better stay on top of it. Tourists might hear you. I'm not really worried about that. They seem to have it all under control. Yeah, they have it all under control. Sorry, I looked away as I said that. Realized I had my mouse right on it. You don't really want to know the results. Oh, they meaning the doctors and stuff. No, I was thinking that the people here at the telescopes all have it under control. Yeah. We need to call and ask. You glance nervously at the occupied booths as the radio crackles. You turn down the static before the doctor answers. Yeah, listen, I know why you're calling. This time he's actually going to be fine. Anyway, head director Marcel wants to talk with you. You should probably call her instead. Your stomach trembles. That only means trouble. You put in one request before he hangs up. Hey, listen, will you tell Grant that I hope he's feeling better? For me? He agrees, and it feels like a bit of a load off. You steel yourself and call up Marcel. She always speaks way too loudly into her walkie-talkie. Hey, great timing. You turn down the volume as she continues. Listen, we need to speak privately in my office. Okay, before we get into a whole conversation with our boss, I think we'll just have to leave it here and pick it up for episode 5. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit like and sub. And commentary on what we played today. Well, there wasn't a lot going on. It was a lot of moving pieces and cool stuff in terms of just seeing the base and everything, mostly dealing with Grant. But I just think like, wow, another topic to go on the list of all the big topics. This one with I almost said Mojang Minecraft, but collected games and synthplay, same thing. Boy, that touched a button. I thought, oh, I just had that feeling, all those nameless, swirling feelings that I had over the Microsoft acquisition of Mojang. I, like a lot of the rest of the Minecraft community, are just saying, no, it's gonna be fine, with a big plastic smile put on our faces because we just want it to be fine. But, yeah, there's a lot of conflict there. I will say that this situation, though, seems to be different because this one, what with the mysterious pitch and everything, that they need resources, it's like they are trying to expand and grow and break through the eggshell that is their small company status. And in order to be able to, I'm just going to keep going with this bird metaphor, tortured though it may be, if they would like to peck their way out and spread their wings, then the way to do that, I guess, is to hook up with the money people. But it is interesting that Grant is not a collected games person. He's there with them, but he's from Synthplay, which kind of explains why everyone else was a bit wary about him. There was that weird thing in the line where he wasn't well, and nobody wants to be around somebody who's not well, especially in a sort of, airport type situation. So I could see everybody just kind of like hanging back from him, but they also seemed to treat him rather warily, like they didn't quite know what to make of him. And now I can see why, because he's not one of them. He's the other, he's from the big corporation, which is always in a way a slightly scary thing. But then again, he represents all their hopes and their dreams. And to go back to my stupid bird metaphor, he's their way out of the egg, So there's both hope and dread, I think, mixed in for those guys in their relation to Grant, and I'm interested to see how that plays out for the rest of the story. But I'm talking too long. We need to go. I will see you back here for episode 5. Until then, be well.